I think the most interesting that Francis said in the beginning is it's a timestamp to show that moment in time as being a great part of the story. The late 60s is when the book was written, not when it was published, but when it was written. And there was something appealing about that time. It's the time where you go from analog to digital. It's the time where you go from innocence to an international political geography that was completely different than it was 10 years before. It was not necessarily about let's make it authentic 1969. I mean, we said the vehicles from the 1960s, that was a must because they're gorgeous. So that the period vehicles was a thing, but when we went to the military vehicles, we're stating the Great War, and the Great War was more in the 50s, so the military vehicles became more in the 50s. But life around it was this notion of outside of time. It could happen tomorrow, it could have happened yesterday. So yeah, visually very interesting to use bits and pieces of the 60s, but it was never meant to be a full-on period 1960s movie. And I think Francis and I really very quickly zoned in on that. Switch over from analog to digital, that was the key. That's what we maintained as the key reference, because that was basically the year of the pulsar. The first digital watches came out, so it felt appropriate to bring back a bit of that technology. This one was a very short pre-production phase. Did a lot of research, went through the script, and yeah, realized that it's about the journey. It's about the kids and the journey they take on. It's not necessarily about one specific item on that journey. It is the journey that makes it. And the road kept coming back as being that's what we got to do. We got to find the great roads. And there was a very strong desire to make this, or to shoot this chronologically, which is absolutely amazing. That seldom happens. You get a sense of the progression that the kids are having, but also how you show the universe. It allows you to more easily see how you can transition from one place to the next. You're going to the woods one day, a field the next day, then a little town the next day, but it's nice to see the evolution almost in real time. I think it allowed all the actors to take the time to get into character and then evolve with the characters. Walking through the woods is kind of absolutely uninteresting unless you add that little sign on the side of the road that just breaks up that monotony. I think the biggest challenge for us was every time we'd go into a small town, either abandoned or very barely lived in. You're not dressing up one tiny room. You're dressing up an entire kilometer of house fronts, of store fronts, of space, and it's to find ways of making every step, not every step count, but that there be moments that you can pick up on camera. Francis is amazing at seeing the potential in spaces and pushing it to the max. We wanted an abandoned gas station. We wanted a sort of an old beat-up diner, and you have those two you can find together, or we found together, but the cemetery was a missing part. In pretty much all locations we've had to disguise a lot, but add a few touches to make sure that it would meet that sort of visual storyline that Francis was trying to get. And we were always talking about something happened during the Great War that made it so that the United States didn't come out as the big winner. So when you think about that, there might have been color at one point, but it's been faded down through generations of washing and washing and washing. So the color palette has always, interestingly, stayed very muted, nothing screamy, and because I think that would have distracted from that little group of people he was trying to film. It was never about the environment. I think it was always about capturing the boys. And if you have screaming elements, like color-wise or pattern-wise within that, that's just like it distracts you from that reality. And even the cars, there's only one red car in the entire film, and even then it was like a deep burgundy, full of rust. Most of the time we try to stay with more subdued colors. Heather is a silent force to be reckoned with. She's incredibly talented, and honestly, all of our conversations have been so easy because she got it before we even started talking. Francis met with her a couple of times before I started working with Heather. It doesn't happen always, but I think she understood she understood the color palette to a T, the decay to a T, and it made everything just go smoothly. I think we both fed on each other to sort of build up the world.